Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Saber275. Kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012. Um, I don't know if you've been out of the loop on this. It's something you should really check into. Um, it was recently passed by the House, um, and it's on its way over to the Senate for reapproval. You can look the bill up online if you do a search for Senate Bill 1867 or House Resolution 1540. Um, the the area of concern involves Section 1031 of the bill, which basically is a bill aimed at fighting terrorism. And as kind of a brief overview of the bill, what that section of the bill does is it gives the president powers to use the military to combat terrorism domestically. And on the surface, it seems like a really good thing, but when you delve deeper into the bill, you realize just what a threat that section of the bill is to the constitutional rights granted to Americans in relation to due process, or the Fifth Amendment. I hadn't really paid attention to this until recently. Kind of a shame on me, kind of thing. But after I started seeing more things about it, I kind of started researching it and realizing just how much of a threat this is. And I know there's a lot of videos on YouTube dedicated to this section of the bill, but I feel that as an American citizen, as somebody who cares about what direction our country is going in, that I had a responsibility to add to the videos and maybe help spread the word on us trying to defeat this bill. As I said, this bill is supposed to be a way for the government to fight terrorism. The problem with it is that it robs Americans of their due process as guaranteed by the Fifth Amendment, and we just can't have that. And how it does that is by not, it gives the government the right to detain suspected terrorists or suspected terrorist-friendly individuals for an indefinite amount of time for interrogation purposes without giving them the right to a fair trial, to a lawyer, that sort of thing. This is dangerous. Okay, anytime that the government can use the law to circumvent the Constitution in any way, shape, or form, then we as American citizens start losing our rights. All right? And it's important that we get out there and we try to defeat this thing. Now, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, the Senate passed it as Senate Bill 1867, sent it over to the House. President Obama threatened to veto the bill as it was. And so the House and the Senate got together, members of both houses of Congress got together, made some revisions to the bill. The House approved it on like Thursday or something like that. And now it's being sent back over to the Senate for approval, where then it will be given to the president. There are petitions online. If you go to whitehouse.org, I think is what it's called, the White House website, there are petitions. There's like 3 or 4 petitions on there. You need to get involved in this, and you need to get in there and sign and ask the president to veto this bill. This is a terrible bill. You know, when you combine this with the Patriot Act, what you have is the government has carte blanche to violate our rights, from our privacy to eliminating due process. And it really sets up the beginnings of what is becoming a totalitarian state here in America. Okay, and this is legit. You could search the internet for the bill. You can read it for yourself. Like I said, it's Section 1031, and then you can go and kind of research other websites that are talking about this. The Oath Keepers, the ACLU, and there's a bunch more out there. You know, people that are actually speaking out against this, and you can look here on YouTube and you know, gather more information about it. But it's very important, you know, because right now the government is taking the steps necessary to take away our freedoms, the freedoms that were guaranteed to us in the Constitution on which this country was built on. You know, so we need to get out there and we need to do whatever it takes. You know, don't depend on the Tea Party. Don't depend on the militias. Don't depend on this Occupy Washington or Wall Street movements that are going on right now to get your point across. You have to be more active in this. And you need to look up the voting records, and I'm going to try to post those when I post the video. You need to look at the voting records of the individuals in Congress who approved this thing. We need to start holding them accountable for that. And the way you do that is, you know, you either recall them, or when they're due up for election, whoever's due up in the next election cycle, we need to vote them out. Okay, because anybody that goes to Washington to work for big corporations, empower the government to rob the citizens of their rights, needs to be voted out of office yesterday. All right, you know, more and more, you know, the big corporations and, you know, this worldwide military complex that we're trying to build is usurping the rights guaranteed to us by the Constitution. And if we don't stop it, and we don't put an end to this soon, then, you know, we're going to be living in a George Orwell 1984 type scenario. Okay, just think about that. If the government deems you a terrorist, okay, they can detain you indefinitely for interrogation purposes without affording you a lawyer. All right, and you know, and there's no provisions for determining what constitutes a terrorist. Okay, how's the government going to determine who's a terrorist? You know, what criteria is being implemented to determine if a person is a terrorist? Is it hearsay? You know, what if you buy too many guns through a licensed dealer? You know, is that gonna, you know, put you on the radar? You know, if you have big food spending bills, I mean, what it seems arbitrary to me to make this claim and then say, you know, we're doing it to fight terrorists, and there's no definition to it. I do think this is something that's probably going to have to go through the judicial system to get defeated, because I think even if Obama vetoes it, the House and the Senate could actually override him by re-voting. So, you know, this is serious business here, and it's time that, you know, those of you that are out there that you know, don't vote and you say, you know, because my vote doesn't count, it's time for y'all to get off the couch, stop complaining about the government, and take a more proactive role in shaping our future. All right, because you know, if you post videos on YouTube that go against the government, you know, that might be considered a terrorist act. You know, so you know, who knows what criteria they're going to use. And at this point in time, we all have to consider that we might be viewed as terrorists for any activities that we may do, because, we don't know what constitutes a terrorist. So anyway, I just wanted to get this out there. Please research this bill, find the petitions that are online, sign them, make your voices heard, and start holding your senators and your congressmen responsible for their actions. This is treason against the American public, and this is an assault on the Constitution that we just can't have. This isn't a right versus left issue. It's not about Democrats and Republicans or independents or socialism and fascism and all these other views that we ascribe to people that have different political persuasions than we do. All right, this is about Americans. It doesn't matter your color, your race. If you're in America and this bill gets through and you do something that might be considered a terrorist activity, it could be you that could find yourself in Guantanamo Bay being waterboarded or something like that. All right? Yo, this is Saber 275. Get your knowledge, learn about the political system in America. Look at those candidates, find the one that actually has America's best interests at heart, and make your voices heard by voting. Peace.